Welcome. In this short video, we will define CDL licenses Class A through C and what type of vehicles are commercial motor vehicles, or CMVs. We will explain the differences between interstate and intrastate commerce and which of these drivers are not required by federal law to have a DOT physical exam. The hours of service for truck drivers will be discussed, as well as the demands and duties of a commercial driver that should be met by all individuals obtaining a DOT medical certificate. It's important to clearly understand the difference between the definition of a commercial motor vehicle and the requirements for a driver to obtain a commercial driver's license. There are three classes of commercial driver's licenses: Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class A is for drivers of vehicles that weigh or have a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 or more pounds, or such vehicle towing a trailer weighing or rated to carry in excess of 10,000 pounds. Class B is for drivers of any vehicle that weighs or has a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 or more pounds, or similar vehicle towing another vehicle that is not in excess of 10,000 pounds. Class C is for drivers of any single or combination of vehicles that do not meet the definitions of Class A or B, but is either designed to transport 16 or more passengers, including the driver, is placarded for hazardous materials, or is transporting any quantity of a material listed as a select agent or toxin. Medical certification is generally required when the driver is operating a CMV in interstate commerce. A CMV is defined as any motor vehicle that has a gross vehicle weight, gross combination vehicle weight, or is rated to transport 10,001 or more pounds. A motor vehicle designed or used to transport more than 9 passengers, including the driver, for compensation, or a motor vehicle designed or used to transport more than 16 passengers, including the driver, without compensation. It also includes any motor vehicle transporting material that requires the vehicle be placarded for hazardous waste. Interstate commerce is defined as trade, traffic, or transportation of goods or services in the United States that may involve the crossing of a state boundary, crossing from one state to another state or a foreign country, travel between two places within a state, but during part of the trip, the CMV crosses into another state or country, or travel between two places within a state, but the cargo is part of a trip that began or will end in another state or country. For this reason, even the local UPS delivery driver involved in delivering the cargo to its final destination, even though the driver may never drive across state lines, is involved in interstate commerce. All drivers of a commercial motor vehicle in interstate commerce must have a current medical examiner's certificate. The following drivers in interstate transportation are not required to have a medical examiner's certificate: school bus drivers who transport children or staff between home and school; federal, state, or local government employees transporting human corpses or sick or injured persons; fire truck rescue vehicles during emergencies or other related activities; transportation of propane winter heating fuel when responding to an emergency condition requiring an immediate response, such as damage to a propane gas system after a storm or flooding, or when responding to a pipeline emergency condition requiring immediate response, such as a pipeline leak or rupture. Continuing the list of drivers in interstate transportation who are not required to have a medical examiner's certificate are drivers in custom harvesting on a farm or to transport farm machinery and supplies used in harvesting operations, and transportation of harvested crops to storage or to market. Also, the transportation of agricultural products, farm machinery, or farm supplies that are non-hazardous materials to and from a farm and within 150 air miles from the farm. Beekeepers in the seasonal transportation of bees. A private motor carrier of passengers for non-business purposes or to transport migrant workers. If any of these 12 activities is the only operation in which the individual drives, they are not required to have a medical certificate. Intrastate commerce is defined as trade, traffic, or transportation of goods or services in any state that does not meet the description of interstate commerce. Intrastate drivers must have a medical examiner's certificate in accordance with the FMCSA regulations with any applicable state variances. Each state regulates its own intrastate drivers of commercial vehicles. States can adopt the federal physical exam requirements for intrastate drivers, or they can have fewer or additional requirements. To increase highway safety, FMCSA has developed a driver hours of service regulation. This regulation applies to interstate drivers of commercial motor vehicles and intrastate drivers within a state that has adopted the hours of service regulations. Drivers are limited in the number of hours they can drive per day, per week, and per 8-day intervals. These regulations include actual time driving and time not driving, but still working. A driver should not exceed 11 hours of driving time each day and should not exceed a total of 14 hours of total amount of time working each day. All drivers of commercial vehicles must be treated as if they are driving an 18-wheeler, weighing 110,000 pounds from coast to coast. It does not matter if the driver has easy driving duties or even whether they are currently employed or currently driving. Even if they just want to keep their CDL privileges current or need a medical examiner's certificate for a non-driving position or employment. The medical examiner performing the DOT physical exam needs to consider the duties and abilities necessary to perform the tasks associated with being a commercial driver. These tasks include the following. Coupling and uncoupling trailers requires strength and full range of motion to climb, balance, turn, grip, and pull. Loading and unloading trailers of freight after sitting for a long period of time without any stretching period. Lifting, installing, and removing heavy tire chains requires pulling lifting motions in the range of 35 to 90 pounds. Lifting tarpaulins to cover open-top trailers requires pulling lifting motions in the range of 50 to 100 pounds. And performing pre-trip and post-trip safety checks requires climbing, bending, kneeling, crawling, reaching, stretching, turning, and twisting. Other abilities necessary to perform the tasks associated with being a commercial driver include the ability to perform driving maneuvers and performing the operations of a CMV. These include the following. Moving gear shift levers requires timely coordination and complex manipulation skills of right upper and left lower extremity. Controlling the steering wheel requires mobility, power grasp, and prehension of hands and fingers. Operating brakes and accelerator pedals requires coordinated movement in lower extremities. Operating light switches, windshield wipers, directional signals, emergency lights, horn, etc. requires mobility and manipulative skills of upper extremities. And backing and parking requires adequate depth perception and coordinated manipulative skills. To learn more, visit teamcme.com and register for our online training.